Hey everybody, welcome to Liberty Bytes. This is Matt MacGowan sitting in for William Gadsden, and I'm here today to talk about one of everybody's favorite topics, what's wrong with the Libertarian Party. After the historic results in the 2016 presidential election, results a lot of people thought should have been a little better considering the quality of our competition, a lot of libertarians had their sights set really high for 2018, and with good reason. There was a lot of high-profile races, and we had some big names for the Libertarian Party anyway running, including something we haven't had a lot of in the past, which was incumbents. However, when the results many folks envisioned failed to materialize, the narrative started to change, and a lot of people started asking what's wrong with the Libertarian Party. Why can't we ever seem to gain traction despite the historic failures of the two-party system? Now, one of the things we libertarians aren't known for being very good at is self-reflection. Nonetheless, we're going to attempt to take a look at it here and see if we can diagnose why we can't seem to get ahead. And I guess the first piece of that would be to acknowledge we have a problem. Now, saying that, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I think the prospects for the LP are brighter than they've ever been before, but that doesn't mean we couldn't be doing better. You know what I'm saying? So what are some of the ways we can do better? Well, for starters, I think the first thing that we should really focus on that will help us, maybe more than anything, is to stop letting perfection be the enemy of good. And what I mean by that is, you know, it's a big internet joke these days about the one true libertarian, but damned if you're not having a conversation with libertarians online. And if you put something forth that whoever your audience is, that it doesn't meet their preconceived notions of what it means to be a libertarian, you might as well be talking to a wall. And oftentimes these types of conversations delve into attacks, they get personal, and nothing gets done except good folks get run off. I mean, we've all seen it, right? And I would argue not only do we see this in internet conversations and debates and things like that, but we see it a lot from, if not leadership, then senior people in the party. And what I'm talking about is people who have been members of the party for a long time. And oftentimes I understand where these folks are coming from. You know, some of them have been around for decades, putting in the work, putting in the petition drives, doing this, doing that. And they're very protective of their party. And it's certainly understandable and oftentimes commendable. The problem with that mentality is it's a roadblock to getting things done. We're not running the same types of elections that we were running in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even a decade ago. Elections have changed, and I think we've been slow to change with it. And part of the reason is there is resistance in a lot of corners of this party to new ideas. I mean, how many people listening to this have either been in the chat or have been talking at their county meeting and hear somebody propose a radical idea and a new approach to doing things, and they're met with the response of, we've never done it that way, or we don't do it that way. That's such a roadblock to progress. And it's funny, too, because a lot of these people will hit you with the old, well, hey, if you don't like it, why don't you get involved and do something about it? But the moment you do try to get involved, you also get met in a lot of corners with the wait your turn mentality. Work your way up, do this, do that, jump through our hoops before you can presume to suggest what we should do as a party. And I think that's caused us to stagnate a lot. I know the number one chief complaint that I hear from small L libertarians who are passionate and talented and could make a difference is that every change they suggest is met with resistance by the tenured members of the party. That's got to stop. So how do we stop it? Well, I think first we really need to make a concentrated effort, especially those of us who've been around a while, to not only embrace the new people and the new blood coming into our party, but some of the new ideas that come along with them on how we approach things. Now, I'm not suggesting we redefine libertarian or we take up policy positions that are the opposite of who we are. But I think we can acknowledge that maybe it's time to take a different approach to some things. And one of the things I would argue we should take a different approach to is elections. We spend an awful lot of time and money on big races, high-profile races, where our odds of making an impact are slim. And I totally understand in a lot of cases why we do this. Ballot access is tied to anything from presidential elections to statewide elections. So there's certainly a vested interest for us to run candidates who can help us in those areas. But at the end of the day, change is made locally. And that is where we have a tremendous opportunity to make an impact. There are a lot of races, nonpartisan races, some partisan, where, 80 to 90 votes can make all the difference in the world, less than that. And these are impactful positions. These are local positions where local laws are made, where the impact is very real on people's lives. And this is our opportunity to shine. This is where we should be focusing our efforts, in my view, because this is how we change the world. And not to mention that if we ever do want to challenge for the higher positions, this is where you build your bench at the local level. There is so much opportunity to be had, not only in partisan elections or things like that, but with ballot initiatives. There's so many issues that county and state parties can get out in front and lead on that we're missing out now because I think our focus is too concentrated in areas where it doesn't need to be. Another opportunity we have for improvement is how we treat folks who come to us from the outside. We have a lot of opportunities, I think, to work with members of the other two parties. They're despite the backwardness of the parties themselves, there are pockets of good in both parties where our interests align. We can't expect Republicans and Democrats to listen to us if we won't listen to them just based on the letter behind their name. We're becoming no better than the thing we're fighting. And for a party of principle, that's a problem. And then finally, if there's one wish I had for the Libertarian Party and every libertarian in it, it's stop taking ourselves so damn seriously. Yes, we are a wild bunch. Yes, we have some characters. Yes, sometimes it can be embarrassing. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're on a mission to set the world free. And honestly, in 2019, weird sells. Just ask Trump. This is Matt MacGowan on Liberty Bytes for the Think Liberty Network. Thanks for listening.